Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Yeah! Woo! We're off to a very cold start in this new year, aren't we? Of course, we don't have it quite as rough as our neighbors to the north, where it's really, really crazy, crazy cold. And this first week of this new year has been, for me personally, let's just say, filled with learning opportunities. So I am very excited about this service, just as much as you are, if not more, because this is where we get to set our intention. This is where we get to really root in spiritual principle, and we get that nurturing that helps us grow into, what it is that we're meant to be. That's what we're doing today, so that we can thrive. I have this feeling that 2018 is a year we thrive. Do you think? Okay, say, this is the year I thrive. This is the year I thrive. Yeah, this is it. Right here and right now. So let's get to it. All right. So before I moved here from Southern California, the last house that we lived in was this big, beautiful house. It had some nice land. It had room. It was in Canyon Country, which is about 45 minutes northeast, well, an hour and a half if you're in traffic, of Los Angeles. And that's where you could get room. That's where you could get space. The further out you're willing to go, the further your dollar goes, the more room you could get. So this particular house had a bank of cottonwood trees on one side of the house. And if you're not familiar with cottonwood trees, they have these really lovely, delicate leaves that just dance. They shimmer and dance in the wind, and they're all together. It's really they're a beautiful tree. And they grow very tall and very fast, which is why they're a favorite of developers who kind of throw up these subdivisions as quickly as they can and sell them as quickly as they can. And unfortunately, the problem with them is that they have a very shallow root system. Their roots do not go deep. They go out this way, and they're kind of long and spindly, and they can wrap around your pipes. Also, being in the canyons like we were, when those Santa Ana winds whip down those canyons at 85 miles an hour, which they do, the root system does not support the height of the tree, and they just topple, which is what happened to us one night at a particularly intense Santa Ana windstorm. And it was really scary. I remember I was in the house, and we, listening to the wind whipping down and hearing the creaking of the trees. And I went outside and looked, and you could see the trees were just sort of towering over the house. And one of them is towering over the kids' room. And so I thought, no, okay, I'm going to go and take those kids. The kids were about 6 or 7 then, out of their beds. And we all went to this little room on the side, the opposite side of the house. Had a little slumber party there together, but I was up listening to the wind and praying. And indeed, many of those trees came down that night, but miraculously, they missed the house. It's like they went that way and completely missed the house. So that next day or that next week, we had the tree removal people come out and just take down the rest of the trees. And it was such a process. They had to really tear up our lawn, and they were pulling out these tendrils of this mass, the maze of root systems that were around our pipes. So it was kind of a good thing this whole thing happened, because had it gone on any longer, it really could have compromised those pipes. But those Santa Ana winds are really common in Canyon Country. Actually all over Southern California, as you probably have witnessed, the news reports about those fires. It's those Santa Ana winds that have really fueled all of those fires that burned for weeks. And those winds are powerful. They take down a lot of trees. But the one tree that stands up to those winds, that has stood up for decades or centuries, is the oak tree. Oak tree, live oak, scrub oak, red oak. There's so many. There's like 600 variety of oak trees. And there's like one variety on every continent on this planet. They're just hardy things, hardy trees with immense root systems. The taproot goes down about as far as the tree is tall, which ensures that it will withstand any kind of windstorm, any kind of storm that comes its way. It's so immense. And the interesting thing about, mighty oaks come from these little tiny acorns. But the first thing that grows when that acorn is broken open are the roots, which I think is an interesting lesson that Mother Nature always provides for us. That in order to really grow, for life to grow and unfold and blossom and reach its potential and endure, the roots have got to be firmly planted in solid foundation. That's where it's nurtured. That's its power source. And the further the roots go, the taller the branches can grow. You just can't have one without the other. And that, coming back to that acorn analogy, that shell has got to break open. It's got to be released in order for anything to grow. It's not going to grow in the acorn. It's got to be released in order for that divine blueprint to grow and become what it's capable of becoming. So it's kind of like, metaphorically speaking, what we all did together last week with the burning bowl service. We released that, not only that which was no longer serving us, but we released what was kind of holding us back from growth, from our full expression of who we are. And if you missed that service by any chance, you can find it on our website. The audio is there, and you would just go ahead and take a piece of paper and write that thing that you're releasing, and just put it in the fire or on top of the stove or something, and poof, let it go. Release. So release, and then we're free. We're free, right? We release that. We're free. And so following the example of Mother Nature, in order to thrive, what's the first thing that needs to grow? Roots. Yeah, we want to send those roots into firm, solid spiritual foundation. Not just any kind of foundation. You don't want it rocky, you don't want it dry, you don't want it too compacted. You need space. There's got to be spaciousness there for us to grow. Some spaciousness. We want that rich, nurturing foundation, substance that feeds us, that gives us what it is that we need to grow and become what we're capable of being, to reach our full potential, right? And that foundation, metaphorically speaking, is that divine essence, the ground of our being. That's our power source, our true power source. That's that infinite love, intelligence, divine presence that's at the core of our being. And that essence has aspects, character, qualities that nurture and support our growth and unfoldment. And those qualities, which we will discover together in just a few minutes, those qualities will become the words that we will write on the the white stone, and that we'll keep that. So it will remind us of that source that is feeding us, that is nurturing our growth, that is supporting us, so that come what may, the storms of life, we are solidly, firmly planted in that divine source of our being. So, what are those qualities? Your inner wisdom will reveal it to you. And in order for that to happen, we need to dive deep into the silence. That's where it is. That's where we hear it. That's where we hear that voice of that divine wisdom within us. You know, so in just a minute, we will do this. We will dive into that quiet and open our hearts and open our consciousness and just allow that inner wisdom to reveal that thing that we are going to root ourselves into, that will nurture and feed us and help us to thrive. Ensure that we thrive this year. Okay? Ready? So I'd like to sort of guide you in a guided visualization for a little bit, and then we'll have some time of silence. And then we'll come back together, and then I'll have the greeters bring by the white stones, and you'll write your word on that. So, Mark, would you be kind enough to accompany us in this? All right, so just kind of, again, get comfortable in your chairs, put anything that might be in your lap to the side, and begin to take some deep cleansing breaths. Close your eyes, really feel your body relaxing with every breath. Feel that breath just absolutely allowing your body to release, let go, trusting the chair to support you. Releasing thinking mind, bringing the awareness to the heart center, that heart chakra, that core of our being, the ground of our being. That is that pure essence that is there. And we open, 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 and allow the wisdom from that to flood our entire being. And now, if you would imagine that you are standing on a hill in a clearing. It's a warm, sunny day, and there's nothing around except for a giant oak tree. A giant oak tree with a massive trunk whose branches just seem to reach to the heavens. You notice all sorts of birds and chipmunks and squirrels that have made their home in this beautiful mother oak tree. You get the sense that this oak has been around for hundreds of years and has withstood storms and ice and earthquakes and fires, no matter what the weather has thrown its way. Mother Oak remains firm, solid, unstoppable, committed to realizing its full potential, and committed to being a blessing for other beings. You stand there for a moment, just marveling in her majesty. And you decide now to sit down under Mother Oak's shade and rest up against her trunk. As you relax and open your heart, you feel as if this Mother Oak knows of your presence and wants to communicate with you. So you choose to suspend your disbelief, cast aside any doubt, and you open your heart. You open your heart to its wisdom. And as you do, you feel as if this mighty tree is filling your imagination with a picture of her giant root system. You can see, as if peeking under the soil, this massive root system, and you follow along deep into the earth. In that nurturing soil, there are powerful nutrients and qualities that have contributed to Mother Oak's growth, that have allowed her to grow so majestically, to stay solid, and to be of service to others in so many ways. She seems to be suggesting that now is the time for you to root yourself into solid spiritual foundation, the ground of your being, and receive the elements that will nurture your growth and allow you to become the fullness of who you are. You feel a willingness now to open to this wisdom and to allow yourself to hear the words or see the pictures or just get that feeling of that presence, of that particular quality that you will focus on this year, that will be instrumental in your power to thrive. And so, sitting at the feet of this glorious Mother Oak, you allow yourself to open and listen to whatever word or short phrase, whatever is being revealed to you that represents that quality. And we'll do that together in the silence for the next few minutes. It may not make sense to you right now, but just trust. And once you've received that, turn and bow in gratitude to this grand Mother Oak. Just feel the fullness of her love. And now, let's begin to take some deep breaths and begin to bring our awareness back into the room, meeting back here. And if I could have the greeters come forward with the white stones, pass them out, stretch a little bit. Thank you. And so you will be writing your word in pencil. There should be pencils in the seat backs in front of you. And then just live with it for a couple of days. And if that really still feels right and resonates, go ahead and use a permanent marker to write it in permanent marker. You want to keep this. Many of you have been coming to the White Stone service, and some of you have a whole collection, whole domino of. They're wonderful to put on your altar if you have an altar, or your bedside table, or wherever you see, so that it can remind you and continue to nourish you. This is the quality that is nourishing you this year. All right, does everybody have their white stone? Let's just hold it in our hands and say this affirmation with me. I'll say it first. I am firmly rooted in spiritual foundation. I am firmly rooted in spiritual foundation. It is my power source. My power source. This quality nurtures and supports my growth. Quality nurtures and supports my growth. This is the year I thrive. This is the year I thrive, and so it is. Woo-hoo!